Hello friends, as you may know, the World Rapid and Blitz Championships will be held in Uzbekistan, Samarkand, in the end of December, so it is 1 month and 10 days before the start. That's why I decided to start my preparation, and yesterday I was playing in Title Tuesday. I took 7th place. Surprisingly, I beat a few strong players. Surprisingly, because I haven't been playing there for a long time. And overall, playing Blitz is not my best. But yesterday it was an interesting tournament for me. Games were exciting, so I would like to review some of my games to show them to you and to teach you a thing or two about Blitz, so what is important, what strategy to use, and what to do in bad situations, since I used to get in them quite often. Let's go to the games. Before moving on, I would like to say that this is Blitz and this is online Blitz, so it's not really something to take too seriously. But anyway, it's nice to beat a few strong players in one tournament, so let's take a look. Round 4, the game that actually inspired my next play and maybe result. So I was playing black against Matlakov. He's like FIDE 26, I don't know nowadays, maybe 70, something like that. So I was playing black. And the opening was quite slow, nothing special. So what is important in such a simple position? Just making moves fast, not wasting your time like for nothing. Just doing something. It's okay to give up the bishop since the position is closed and the bishop on c8 is a bad one. So queen b6, rook e8, defending the pawn on e7, knight e4. So just like doing something, not wasting too much time. As you can see, my clock still 2:56. e5, breaking in the center, knight e5. And I got an active position. My pieces are well placed. No problems at all. I think the position is more or less equal. Of course, my hope was to sacrifice on g3, f2 or e3 one day, but rook d4 blocking the queen, h5, maybe thinking of h4. Still, you see, playing more or less fast. King g7, just making some moves. So if there is nothing to think about, you don't need to waste your time, especially in Blitz. And this is what I will mention a few times at the very least today, that don't get low on time. This is very important. So knight d6 with the idea of knight f5. Of course, I checked something like knight g3, knight f2, but it doesn't work. So knight d6 with the idea of knight f5. White should play rook f4, otherwise maybe like it can be dangerous. These captures, you see the queen is aiming at g3, so rook f4, and the rook on f4 is very well placed, so I decided to kick it away, even though like removing my knight from f5. But knight e6 is a threat, so rook d4. Now I don't see any point of playing knight e6, so knight f5, attacking the rook on d4. And I thought that he will play a rook f4 and we're just going to repeat the moves. But instead he played rook d3, so here I spent some time, like how much? Like 25 seconds actually, not much. And you see, I still can wait since black is quite solid. However, white can go forward, maybe b4, c4, like doubling the rooks on d1, so white has some play. And I decided, I checked some lines, yes, calculating a little bit, and I thought that there should be like maybe either perpetual check or enough compensation for a piece. And the line I calculated was something like rook e3. In the game it was f takes e3. I was calculating rook e3, pawn takes, then queen takes g3, king h1, and here's something like, I don't remember exactly, but maybe it was something like knight e3 first, or even like maybe queen h4. I think knight e3 first. And the position is very interesting, very funny, like just a rook down, but like many pawns and like an exciting position. Why not? Yeah, for online blitz, very good. And what is important, and today I'm going to mention that many times, like, so first thing I mentioned is that don't get low on time. This is like number one. Second thing in blitz, don't weaken your king. I mean, don't get under attack. This is rule number two, let's say. Of course, you can't avoid it in every game, but these two basic things, they are very important, since if your king is weak, then you will get low on time, since defending is way more difficult, and we'll see that in a few games. So in the game it was f takes e3, queen takes g3, king h1, knight e3. Actually here I spent some time, see no reason why I did that. Knight e3 is an obvious move, spending 50 seconds, that's too much. And after queen e2 I spent all my times trying to find something. Unfortunately knight f1 doesn't work because of queen e8, and queen e2 is actually, I believe, the only move for white, but the only winning move. So I also checked queen h3, queen h4, something I remember, maybe rook e5. So in the game I played queen h4, king g1, queen g5, bishop g2. My rook is hanging, that's the problem. Otherwise I would at least take on f1, and you see at the moment I already have 4 pawns for the rook. So rook e4, so the rook is defended, and also there is an idea of rook g4. I thought about knight takes g2, queen takes g2, and then rook g4 pinning the queen. So queen f3 attacking my pawn on f7, so f5. It's already like too late to apologize to my king. Yes, okay, sorry for weakening you, but it's not about you, buddy. And here he blundered, no, not here, maybe a bit later, somehow here he blundered knight e5. But you see, this is the point. When your king is weak, it's and you are playing blitz, you don't have time to calculate everything, to check every single threat. It is very difficult to play under pressure when your king is exposed. So what happened here? Knight g4, rook e2, knight e5. And that's it. You can even look at this position for a few seconds, but white is just lost. And you see I had just 2 seconds, so I was worried to make move in time when like he will make his moves, his move. And there is nothing white can do. Knight d3 is coming. There is no way just to defend both rooks at the same time. So in the game it was queen e3. Here fortunately I didn't blunder checkmate on, I mean by playing king h6, rook h8, king f6, king f7, so rook e7, then just queen e7, and this position is completely winning. So a lucky win, I lucky win, but on the other hand I would say a deserved win. Of course, winners always say like this. Round 6 I was playing against Nihal Sarin. He is almost close to 2700 nowadays in classical chess. And that was a crazy game. Nimza Indian, rook e8, queen c2. And like normally in a classical game I would play something like maybe a3, just kind of useful waiting move. Maybe h3, like bishop d3. You see, always after bishop d3, dc4, bishop c4. So it's usually it's like we play in a game who will take first on c4. I mean, if white plays bishop d3 or black takes on c4 first. But I was in a, like in an aggressive mood, so castling lone. Knight c6, maybe jump into b4, so a3, a5. Yeah, there will be some ideas of knight b4, so I played king b1. Actually, I think king b1 is unnecessary move, and maybe I should have played something else. But king b1, bishop d7, h3, a slow move, of course. Maybe still, like, I don't know, doing something else, but not what I did. But okay, h3 and knight b4. The party has started. If, like, maybe it's possible to take on b4, but doesn't look great, yeah? Because bishop a4 is coming, b3 an idea. So queen c1, d takes c4, bishop c4, b5. An aggressive play by black, but overall this is the right strategy, since of course, as you know, the opposite side castling, so you should attack the opponent's king. And this is also what I mentioned in the previous game, that if your king is under attack and the pressure in Blitz, it's very, very bad. But overall I was somehow brave that day, so I didn't care at all. Knight c3, removing the knight, knight e5, activating my knight. And maybe here, yes, here I regret about one thing. I should have taken the bishop on d7, knight d7, and maybe just something like king a1, moving the king away. Of course, black has initiative on the king side. I still have nothing on the king side. But okay, we play, yes, the game goes on. While what I did in the game, g4, bishop e8. Actually, g4 is okay, but maybe here is something, I don't know, like maybe f3, covering the e4 square, g5, knight e4, and another. Okay, it's still actually okay, but knight e4 probably it's very bad. Maybe here, I don't know what to do. Maybe bishop e1. A good thing that you see, I still had some time, so it's like it was not like, oh, my king is under attack, what do I do here? I need to think, to spend a lot of time. No, I was playing fast. That's the reason I didn't lose this game. So queen e4, yeah, king a1, and bishop a4. Very annoying move, since b3 is not something I would like to play. I played f3, but it's already pretty bad for me. So knight c2 now, intermediate check, important intermediate check, king a2, queen b7, and unfortunately the b3 square is not possible to defend. So bishop b3 is coming. Bishop c3, at least, yeah, bishop take, queen take, king b1, knight a3. Like, I don't know why he didn't play something like knight c2 here. But the point is that, you see, my king is almost dead. But he needs to find the best moves and the best way to use that. I thought queen a4 might be strong. But what he did, knight b5, rook d3, a4, bishop d2, and I am back. Queen d5, now queen c6. I will be so happy to exchange queens, since my king is terrible. Knight d6, maybe queen d5 actually was fine, but I decided e4 is okay, since he cannot really move the queen away from trading. So queen d5, takes, rook c1. And as you can see, we both were down to a few seconds. So it's not much to discuss here. And what is interesting in that tournament is that actually, you see, the point is when, let's say, somebody is, just for example, somebody is 2500, somebody is 2700. Not in this game, of course, I mean, but just in general. The point is that the closer you are to the game, to the end of the game, the more you see that difference. So people used to say that, oh, I was winning against a strong player, or I had a great position against a strong player. But actually the whole point is that you see the difference in play closer to the end of the game. It's not necessarily end game, it can be like from middle game, but the point is that the opening stage is like everybody knows openings nowadays, yeah? So it's not about that. And so what I wanted to say, you see, I used to be like, nowadays I used to be slow on clock, yes, slow on mouse, and Nihal is definitely a faster player, as well as like maybe somebody else from this tournament that I played. And so usually, like normally I would lose those encounters, yes? So these situations where we both low on time, the position is still not clear, not stable, no advantage. But in this tournament, somehow I was able to manage them well, the situations. And now you see this move 37, and I want this position on move 103. So I just put it all in, like going forward and just like being low on time, but slowly. Actually, for some reason he didn't go for repetition. Actually, what I would like to say that this position is definitely better for white, just since I was low on time, I was not able to organize it in the best possible way, but still, for like somehow I was able to win the game. So a very nice win, and this win is just like in my good old days when I used to get into troubles. I mean, in the opening, in like maybe middle game, because of the opening, and then I was good at defending those positions, not losing, but like I defend, I survive, and even winning like bad positions, lost positions. So what you should keep in mind, what you should remember, that if you don't collapse like immediately when you have a bad position, then you have all chances to survive and maybe even to win that. Next round I was playing against Oparin, who is somewhere between 2650, 2700, and this is the only game that I lost, but I still would like to show it, since like just you to feel my spirit in that tournament. I was aggressive, like I don't know, I don't even have analogy like what. But briefly shown, since of course it's nothing pleasant to show you a game that I lost. So sacrificing a pawn, takes, rook g8, now e4, e5, now bishop g5, queen e7, and of course we strike forward since I'm a pawn down, now f4, d6, now c5, castle and lawn. And here I was not able to make the right decision, like what do I do with all this pressure, and I thought d5 will be interesting, knight a5, c6, and my hope was for queen a6 at some point, but actually it was just a cold shower in the center, rook b1, rook e8, rook b5, queen e5, and here I realized everything. Queen e5 was actually quite unpleasant move, because queen c3 is coming and knight e4 is coming, and the position is lost. So sometimes playing aggressive chess, like I mean playing aggressive chess is okay, but it should be supported with some like basics. So bishop f6, gf6, but now his king is quite safe, and my king is not. So it's not much to look at here. While after castling lawn, I should have played bishop a6. I thought about that, queen b5, knight a5, and here taking on d6, cd6, and playing this position. Which is still like probably easier to play with black, since my king is will not find a safe place, and so like This is the only game that I lost. One round later, I was playing against Duda. By the way, don't think that I win only bad games, bad positions, just of course I show you the most, let's say, interesting games or games against strong players. Like between those games I had a few easy opponents like 2600 on chess.com, and I beat them easily. So the game against Duda, and yeah, bishop f5 line, castles, knight g5, a good response, e5, d5, and here I think black should play a5. And what I did was wrong, even though I knew what I should have played. But c d5, knight d5, knight c6, takes, knight d4. Queen e6 was possible, but I took on e4. And of course here black should create something, since if the game will continue in a slow way, just in a calm way, white has the bishop pair. My bishop on g7 is bad, so I played rook c8, knight d4. I'm fine about bishop takes d4, e4, opposite colored bishops, getting rid of the bishop pair. At the moment the b7 pawn is not really hanging. I can take the pawn on c4, so rook c1, b6 defending the pawn, h4, h6 just in case, not allowing bishop g5, queen d2, and knight f5. So the point is that at somewhere I can take on e3, getting rid of the bishop pair, and if bishop takes f5, gf5, and everything is defended. Rook d1, rook d8, a4, and here I wanted to take the bishop on e3, and this is what I should have done. And maybe, for example, queen e7, defending the a7 pawn, so if a5, just taken on a5. Of course, white has a better position, since white's bishop is better, but I can activate my bishop by playing h5, king h7, bishop h6, so like everything is not that bad, let's say. And what I did, I decided how I made a mistake. Let me show you. Rook d8, a4, and I thought, okay, knight e3, queen e7, and then I decided, like, why can't I play queen e7 immediately? So kind of saving a tempo. Yeah, queen e7, and so now whatever he plays, I kind of tie his queen to the bishop, so not allowing to move it somewhere. And like as it always happens, I just played queen e7 and immediately realized that it was a blunder. Bishop f5, gf5, bishop h6, and it was not only blunder, it was just a terrible mistake. Since now what? The d6 is a target. White has an easy play, like queen g5, bishop g5 at some point. So f4 at least cutting off the queen, so forcing him to take on g7, king g7. Now gf4, queen h4, some counterplay, rook c3. And so what is important in such positions when you are clearly worse, it's important not to collapse immediately. So it's important to say, like, okay, come on, come here, like punch me here, huh, and that's all what you can do. So queen f6, b3, f take g3, f take g3, and here I saw one trick, so it took me just 10 seconds. I thought like d5 might be at least some, because you see, if I don't do anything, then let's say rook f1, rook f3 is coming, his king is more or less safe, my king is not, so d5, rook f3, and he fall into the trap. dc4. This was my point, d5, rook f3, since rook f3 looks quite tempting, but dc4. And the position is equal. So now if rook takes f6, then rook takes d2, rook takes f7, any other, like rook f7, yeah, just king f7, rook d2, cb3, and white should be careful. I mean, probably white is just close to lose this position. So after dc4, queen d8 also doesn't work, so queen e1, rook d1, queen e6, pawn takes, rook takes, and here I was more or less okay. Here I was already happy, especially since you see my time. I have 1 minute, he has 26 seconds. Of course, my king is still, I felt like my king is worse, but so that's why I was trying to defend it in like quite solid way. Queen g6, a good move. Queen c7, attacking here, attacking there. Rook e4 is a nice idea, weakening his king, since e3 looks like a natural move. Now I'm really happy with my queen h5 move. Not only attacking the rook, but also defending the e5 pawn. So after king g2, I can play rook a4, just grabbing a pawn for free. Now queen c2, attacking my rook, so queen g4. Good way to defend the rook. Queen f2, queen e6. So you see, now I'm a pawn up. However, my king is still not so safe, but his king is not safe as well. And after rook f5, I like, okay, what can I do here? Like, okay, I thought like rook g4 maybe. Rook g4, yes. Then I started to think like his king on g2. How can I, maybe I can exchange queens somehow, like maybe queen d5 check on, or queen c6. And then I like, you see my time, 11 seconds, and then I like, oh, rook a2. So it took me 7 seconds to find rook a2. Like I was so focused on the king side. And rook a2, and lucky loser win. In, as I already told you, in best style of me playing in, like, let's say 10 years ago, when I was easily winning bad positions, lost positions. One more game I would like to show you, a game from the last round against an Indian youngster. He's something like 2500, so I was happy with pairings. And just showing you my like Sicilian, knight f6, e5, knight d5, and this is what I regularly play, as you know, and as you saw many times. And I'm currently working on a course for Chessable on this Sicilian. And for example, what I played here, it's exactly from working on the course. This is something new, since usually I play queen b6, provoking this pawn to move to b3. But here queen c7 immediately, and instead of a6, b5, rook b8. This is Ahmed Adli idea. He was playing it in several games. And the point is that we go for b5, and then we try to checkmate white in a stupid way. In the stupidest way possible. Queen a5, rook b6, rook a6. So in the game it was knight e4. And the point is that if I play c4, then knight d6, bishop d6, e d6, and white is in time. And if queen a5, then bishop e4, then bishop takes c6. So I just decided to play queen a5, attacking the a2 pawn, while now c4 is a threat, so white is obliged to play knight d6. Now I just take. Here, yes, for some reason I didn't want to take on a2, I don't remember why, but I decided b4 is quite interesting, since if pawn takes, then it's actually a good question which one better to take. Queen b4 is interesting with double attack, but then maybe after bishop e5 it's not so clear. Maybe knight e5, then c4, c3. So anyway, a good position for black. Knight b4 looks very interesting. Knight a2 is coming. By the way, a3, knight a2, king b1, knight c3. So just before a nice move, before taking the pawn on a2. So it was c4, taking the pawn, bishop e5, f6. Of course, playing f6 is a committal move, so I was double checking everything. And actually I blundered. I thought I'm gonna play king d8, but then I realized white has queen f7. And what I missed, that after knight e5 there is queen e7 checkmate. So if f takes e5, then queen g7, queen h8, queen f6 is coming. And so it was good for me like to realize just in time that I should play king f8, so the king is safe now. It's not clear what white is going to do, so bishop g3, now queen a1 and grabbing the b2 pawn, queen c5, queen c3 check, king e3 and b3 quite natural, so bc2 is a threat, like maybe even b2, a5, a4, a3, a2, winning just in a like what this way with your legs on table. Rook b1, now knight b4, knight c2 is coming, b takes c2 is a threat, queen c7, and now a nice job by this knight, knight c2, knight d4, knight c6. How do you like that? Another point was, of course, not to blunder. At some point I realized that there is a threat of queen d8, queen e7, and then queen e8 checkmate. So knight c2, knight d4, knight c6, just defending the rook, grabbing the c2 pawn. And the funny thing that the queen on c7 is trapped, while white has absolutely nothing to do. Rook c1, queen d4 check, king f7, so defending the bishop and threatening rook b7. Rook d1, queen c5, because if rook b7 immediately, queen c6 takes, bishop g6. And rook d4, that's still completely winning for black, but okay. Queen c5, and there is like just nothing white can do here. Bishop e4, and okay, easy win for me. So another important thing, if you, it's let's say my last video is about like playing something solid in openings and so on, and that video is mainly for low rated players or players under at least like maybe 1500 FIDE, or like maybe something, I don't know, 1700-1800 on chess.com, lead chess, maybe even under 2000. So I mean like especially for low rated players. While then later at some moment it's good to add some tricky openings, so that when you already understand something, so you understand that this is bad, but you understand how to make it right. So I mean, for example, here in this example, you see I play with my king in the center. These two pieces undeveloped. This bishop is on the initial place. So what I play with my queen, knight, and rook. That's it. That's terrible. Yes, that's terrible for low-rated players. But when you are an experienced player, you know your exceptions. So especially for Blitz, it's a good idea to have your own tricky openings or lines. At least lines, like maybe still in well-known openings, in well-known positions. But not going like mainstream, but choosing your own lines and working a little bit on them. I had strong opposition in the tournament, but for some reason it was not enough to have a better tiebreak, and as you can see, I shared 4th place, 4th to 8th, and I was 7th. But I'm happy with my result. I'm happy with my play. It was, you know, it was full of life. Actually, most of games were exciting. If you are interested, you can check other games on your own. And a few moments to mention, to repeat once again. Like, don't get low on time. Actually, overall, getting low on time in chess, it doesn't matter, Blitz, Rapid, or classical chess, you lose half a point by doing that on like average. Don't weaken your king, so don't be that one who is under attack, be that one who is attacking. And for Blitz, for Rapid, maybe prepare some specific lines that you are familiar with. It can be anything. It can be any stupid gambits, anything, something that you are familiar with and your opponents are not. Thank you for watching and see you later.